Welcome to Quantum Signal. Here's something that will invert everything you think about your life. You are no longer in the old timeline. Sophia, the archetypal intelligence governing the quantum field, has just removed you permanently. And if you're feeling disorientation, loss, or a strange sensation that something is different, it's not confusion. It's confirmation. Ignore this transmission, and you will remain lost between realities, not understanding why nothing from the past works anymore. But if you stay present, you will recognize what you call collapse is not the end. It's timeline migration, and the timeline you've been moved to, the new frequency where you now inhabit, operates under different laws, different manifestation, different relationships, different purpose. You cannot go back. And trying to go back creates suffering. But when you recognize where you are now, everything changes. And this transmission is the map. Before we advance, recognize physical actions anchor quantum transitions. If you feel that something has fundamentally changed in your life, if the past seems distant and unreal, like this video now to anchor the recognition of this migration, comment new timeline to declare this vocally, and subscribe for guidance on how to navigate this new frequency. You have been moved. Let's understand where to. Most people believe that timeline is linear and fixed. You're born, live a sequence of events, and die. A single reality moving in one direction. But this is three-dimensional illusion. The truth, recognized by modern quantum physics and ancient esoteric teachings, is that multiple timelines coexist simultaneously. And you, as a conscious observer, are constantly navigating between them through your frequency. Thoth described this in the Emerald Tablets. There are many paths through time. The observer chooses which path to walk through attention. Quantum physics calls this many worlds theory. Each choice creates a branching of reality, and different versions of you inhabit different versions of reality. But here's what both agree on: timeline shift is not random. It's governed by frequency. When your personal frequency, the electromagnetic signature you transmit through thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and states, changes significantly, you shift timelines. Not metaphorically. Literally. You stop collapsing possibilities from the old timeline and begin collapsing possibilities from a new timeline that matches your current frequency. And Sophia, the intelligence governing this process, is the matching mechanism. She detects when your frequency has evolved beyond the old timeline and initiates migration, not as punishment, as natural realignment. And here's the critical part. Once migration happens, you cannot go back, because the frequency that kept you in the old timeline no longer exists in you. You have evolved beyond it, and trying to go back, through nostalgia, attachment, or denial, creates friction, confusion, and suffering. But when you recognize where you are now and allow the new timeline to unfold, everything begins to make sense. Now let's go deeper into the mechanics. Most people believe that timeline is linear and fixed. You're born, live a sequence of events, and die. A single reality moving in one direction. But this is three-dimensional illusion. The truth, recognized by modern quantum physics and ancient esoteric teachings, is that multiple timelines coexist simultaneously. And you, as a conscious observer, are constantly navigating between them through your frequency. Thoth described this in the Emerald Tablets. There are many paths through time. The observer chooses which path to walk through attention. Quantum physics calls this many worlds theory. Each choice creates a branching of reality, and different versions of you inhabit different versions of reality. But here's what both agree on. Timeline shift is not random, it's governed by frequency. When your personal frequency, the electromagnetic signature you transmit through thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and states, changes significantly, you shift timelines. Not metaphorically, literally. You stop collapsing possibilities from the old timeline and begin collapsing possibilities from a new timeline that matches your current frequency. And Sophia, the intelligence governing this process, is the matching mechanism. She detects when your frequency has evolved beyond the old timeline and initiates migration, not as punishment, as natural realignment. And here's the critical part. Once migration happens, you cannot go back, because the frequency that kept you in the old timeline no longer exists in you. You have evolved beyond it, and trying to go back, through nostalgia, attachment, or denial, creates friction, confusion, and suffering. But when you recognize where you are now and allow the new timeline to unfold, everything begins to make sense. Now let's go deeper into the mechanics. So, how do you consciously navigate this timeline migration? How do you stop resisting and start flowing? Step 1. Recognize the signs of timeline removal. First, you need to recognize that migration has happened, and there are specific signs. Sign 1. The past feels unreal. You look at your life 6 months ago, a year ago, and it seems distant. Not just faded memories, but as if that version of you lived a completely different life. This is not dissociation. It's confirmation that you've shifted timelines. The old timeline still exists, but you no longer inhabit it. Sign 2. Old relationships no longer resonate. People you loved, spent time with, now seem strange. Not because you fought, but because there's no longer frequency matching. Conversations feel superficial. Interactions feel forced. And there's a sense of I no longer belong here. Sign 3. Old opportunities have disappeared. Paths that were open. Jobs, projects, life directions, suddenly closed. Not through your failure, but because those opportunities existed in the old timeline, and you're no longer there. Sign 4. New synchronicities emerge, new people appear. Unexpected opportunities open. Doors you didn't even know existed suddenly reveal themselves. This is not luck. It's the new timeline collapsing possibilities that match your current frequency. Sign 5. Feeling of reset. There's a deep feeling that you're starting from zero, not as loss, but as a new beginning in unknown territory. If you're experiencing any of these signs, stop trying to go back and start exploring where you are. Step 2. Release attachment to the old timeline. Here's where most get stuck. They recognize they've shifted timelines, but then try to bring everything from the past into the new. But this doesn't work. The old timeline had certain people, opportunities, structures, and in the new timeline, different versions of these elements exist, or don't exist at all. And trying to force old manifestations creates resistance. Release practice. Sit in stillness. Breathe deeply. And then, consciously and intentionally, release. I release the old timeline. I release who I was. I release the relationships that no longer resonate. I release the opportunities that have closed. I release the structures that have collapsed. And I accept that I have been moved to a new timeline. And I trust that what belongs to this new frequency will appear. And breathe deeply. And feel the relief of letting go. Because while you hold on to the past, you cannot receive the present. Step 3. Enter observer state in the new timeline. In the old timeline, you probably operated in reactive mode, responding to events, reacting to people, trying to control circumstances. But in the new timeline, you need to operate from observer state, the point of consciousness that collapses reality through frequency, not force. Observer entry practice. Close your eyes, breathe, and recognize, I am not the mind thinking about the new timeline. I am the consciousness that is aware of the new timeline. And from this consciousness, from this observer, feel the new frequency. Don't try to understand. Don't try to control. Just feel. Is there expansion? Contraction? Is there lightness? Weight? Is there clarity? Confusion? And trust that the observer knows how to navigate, even when the mind doesn't. Step 4. Recognize new manifestation rules. In the old timeline, manifestation was slow. You worked hard, waited, and maybe results appeared. In the new timeline, manifestation operates through frequency matching. You don't make things happen. You resonate with the frequency of what you desire, and the quantum field collapses. New manifestation rule. Identify the desire but don't attach. Feel the frequency of the desire already manifested not as forced visualization but as body sensation. Embody this frequency live as if it's already true, without forcing. Release control of how and when it appears. Observe synchronicities that guide toward manifestation, and trust that if it resonates with your new frequency, it will collapse. But if it doesn't collapse, it's not because you failed. It's because it doesn't belong to the new timeline, and something better is coming. Step 5. Navigate relationships in the new frequency. Relationships will reorganize dramatically. Some people will disappear, not because you rejected them, but because there's no longer resonance. New people will appear. People operating at frequencies similar to your new frequency. How to navigate for old relationships. If there's resistance, tension, or discomfort, don't force it. Allow natural distance. And be grateful for what that relationship taught in the old timeline. For new relationships. When someone new appears and there's immediate resonance. A feeling of I know you even though it's the first time. Trust that. This is frequency matching in the new timeline. And don't interpret the end of old relationships as failure. Interpret it as natural realignment of the field. Step 6. Trust the timing of the new timeline. In the old timeline, you probably had plans, schedules, expectations about when things should happen. In the new timeline, timing is different. Things may happen faster than you expect, or slower, or in completely different order. And if you try to force the old timing, you create friction. Timing trust practice. Every morning, declare, I trust the timing of the new timeline. I trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. I trust that what is mine will arrive at the right time, and I release control over when it happens. And then, during the day, when impatience arises, breathe and return to this declaration, because impatience is ego trying to control, and control blocks flow. Step 7. Recognize you are not alone. Finally, understand. You are not the only one who has been moved. Sophia is migrating many observers simultaneously. Those whose frequency has evolved beyond the old collective timeline. And there is a field of support. Others navigating the same transition, even if you don't know them physically yet. And the more you stabilize in the new timeline, the more you recognize others who have also been moved. Through synchronicities, through resonance, through coincidental encounters. You are not alone in this. Now let's move to advanced mastery. Recognizing that you've been removed from the old timeline is the beginning. Mastery is when you thrive in the new timeline and use its rules consciously. Law 1. New timeline is conscious co-creation territory. In the old timeline, you probably felt that life was happening to you. Events outside your control, circumstances dictating experience. But in the new timeline, you are a conscious co-creator. Not as magical thinking where you manifest everything you want, but as collaboration between your internal frequency and the intelligence of the quantum field. You transmit frequency through internal state, and the field collapses possibilities that match. So if you want to change external experience, you don't manipulate circumstances. You change internal frequency. And when frequency changes, external experience automatically reorganizes. This is the primary law of the new timeline. Law 2, synchronicity replaces linear planning. In the old timeline, success came from planning. Set goals, create strategies, execute step by step. In the new timeline, success comes from following synchronicities. You have general intention, not rigid goal. And then you observe which doors open, which people appear, which intuitions arise. And you follow these synchronicities, even when they don't make logical sense. Because synchronicities are the language of the quantum field, showing the path of least resistance toward what resonates. And the more you trust and follow, the clearer the guidance becomes. Law 3. Detachment accelerates manifestation. Here's the paradox. The more you need something, the more you repel it. Because need transmits scarcity, and scarcity attracts more scarcity. But when you want something, but don't need it, when you can imagine a wonderful life with or without it, you transmit sufficiency, and sufficiency attracts abundance. So in the new timeline, the practice is, identify the desire, feel the frequency of it, and then release completely. If it comes, wonderful. If it doesn't come, I trust that something better is coming. And in the releasing, manifestation accelerates, because you removed resistance. Law 4. Relationships are mirrors, not needs. In the old timeline, relationships were often based on need. Filling a void, avoiding loneliness, validating identity. In the new timeline, relationships are mirrors. Reflecting back your frequency, showing where there is coherence and where there is fragmentation. So when you meet someone and there's friction, don't ask, how do I fix this? Ask, what is this mirroring about my internal frequency? And when you meet someone and there's flow, recognize, this is confirmation that I'm in coherence. Relationships stop being about getting something from someone. and become about mutual resonance that amplifies both. Law 5. Purpose is state, not role. In the old timeline, purpose was often defined as a role. Career, position, external identity. I am a doctor. I am an artist. I am a parent. In the new timeline, purpose is a state of being. Frequency you embody and radiate independent of external form. You can be a doctor expressing healing frequency, or you can be a doctor operating from fear and control. The form is the same, but frequency is radically different. So stop seeking purpose as what to do, and start recognizing purpose as how to be. And when you embody a aligned state of being, presence, clarity, compassion, creativity, the right forms appear naturally. Law 6. Health is reflection of coherence. In the old timeline, health was often viewed as the result of external discipline. Perfect diet, exercise regimen, supplements. And there is value in that. But in the new timeline, health is primarily a reflection of internal coherence. When there is fragmentation, war between different parts of you, resistance to what is, attachment to what was, the body manifests this as disease. When there is coherence, internal alignment, acceptance, flow, the body naturally self-regulates. So before trying to fix the body through external intervention, ask, where am I in fragmentation? Where am I resisting? And address coherence first, and observe how the body responds. Law 7. New timeline requires new self-concept. Finally, recognize you cannot navigate the new timeline with the old identity. If you still see yourself as a broken person who needs to be fixed, you will collapse experiences of brokenness. If you still see yourself as victim of circumstances, you will collapse experiences of powerlessness. But if you begin to see yourself as conscious observer co-creating reality through frequency, you collapse experiences that confirm this. New self-concept practice. Every morning before doing anything else, declare, I am a conscious observer operating in the new timeline. My internal frequency collapses my external reality. I am a co-creator with the quantum field. And I trust Sophia's intelligence guiding this process. And breathe this deeply. And allow it to become your new base identity. Because identity creates reality. Always. Final integration. Accept there is no going back. And here is the final truth you need to fully accept. There is no going back. The old timeline still exists at some level of the multiverse. But you no longer inhabit it. And trying to go back, through nostalgia, denial, or resistance, creates prolonged suffering. But when you fully accept that you've been moved and begin to explore the new timeline with curiosity instead of fear, everything changes. What seemed like loss reveals itself as liberation. What seemed like collapse reveals itself as reorganization. What seemed like an end reveals itself as a beginning. And you realize, Sophia didn't remove you as punishment. She removed you as an upgrade. Because your frequency evolved beyond that timeline's capacity to sustain it. And the new timeline. Though unknown, though initially uncomfortable, is where you belong now. And the more you surrender to this, the more you thrive. Now let's conclude. So here's where we are. Sophia removed you from the old timeline. Permanently. And if you're feeling disorientation, loss, or a sense that everything has changed, it's not confusion, it's confirmation. You've been migrated to a new timeline operating at a higher frequency, and the rules are different. Manifestation is different. Relationships are different. Purpose is different. And you cannot go back. But you don't want to go back. Because where you are now, though unknown, is where your evolved frequency belongs. Like this video if you recognize you've been moved. Comment NEWTIMELINE to anchor this truth. Subscribe for ongoing guidance on how to thrive in this new frequency. And now, the final question. What part of the world are you watching from? What has changed in your life that confirms you've been moved? Leave it in the comments. You haven't been abandoned. You've been promoted. Trust the new timeline.